After we broke up, I ran into my wealthy ex-girlfriend, Sophia, in an elevator. Seeing the child in my arms, she looked flustered for the first time. But my mind flashed back to years ago, when I saw her attending a gala with a famous actor, laughing and talking intimately. Back then, I felt so inadequate that I just ran away, not even having the courage to formally break up with her. Years later, I was invited back to the country. She, however, blocked my path with red eyes. Don't avoid me. Say you can't let me go. Say you've regretted every day since we broke up. Say you've only ever loved me in this lifetime. Just say it, and I'll give you anything. The next time I saw Sophia Miller was just after the peak of summer. It was my sister's 31st birthday, and my brother-in-law had booked a hotel for her celebration. I walked into the elevator holding my niece, Lily. While I was momentarily distracted, the little girl pointed at a poster in the elevator, her face full of curiosity. "Uncle Ethan, this lady is so pretty." I looked at the woman on the poster and was taken aback. It was Sophia. I'd heard she'd been doing extremely well these past few years, her business empire spanning the globe. My niece seemed very interested in her, pointing at the name on the poster and asking, "Uncle Ethan, what does this word say?" I was silent for a long moment, feeling a tremor in my chest. The sieve of memory sifted through countless past events. The elevator doors dinged open, and I heard my own voice. "So, Sophia's so." Lily giggled. Beside me, a steady, pleasant female voice spoke. "Sir, were you just talking about me?" That voice. I looked up and met Sophia's captivating, almond-shaped eyes. Time seemed to freeze for a few seconds. Sophia stared at me, seemingly in disbelief. Soon, she regained her usual cool composure. I had never imagined that after so many years apart, we would meet under such circumstances. Sophia twitched her lips, her smile pale. "Ethan, long time no see." I nodded. Even now, I couldn't find the courage to say a single word to her. Fortunately, the elevator stopped at my desired floor. I practically bolted out, holding Lily. Behind me, a woman's urgent voice called out, "Do you have a child?" I was about to answer, but my niece beat me to it. "Auntie, this is my uncle. Isn't he handsome? He's not married, he's still single." I gasped heavily, my heart aching fiercely. Under Sophia's intense gaze, I ultimately fled. The dinner party was well underway when I stepped outside for some air. I took a sharp drag from my cigarette, then exhaled a perfect white ring of smoke. Leaning against the window, I quietly watched the bustling traffic below. These past few years had been unsettling. At my poorest, I'd had to stretch every penny. Thankfully, things were finally looking up. The atmosphere was quiet. The footsteps approaching me were measured, almost hesitant. I looked up. Sophia stood a few meters away, hands in her pockets. She looked at me, her dark eyes unreadable. "Haven't seen you in years, and you've picked up smoking? You never had bad habits like this before." She was always a person one could never fully understand. I lowered my eyes and expertly stubbed out the cigarette. "Ms. Miller, surely you didn't come all this way just to bust me for my little habit?" I started to walk, my leather shoes echoing in the empty space. It was somewhat jarring. Each step seemed to pound on my heart. As I reached Sophia's side, she suddenly grabbed my arm. The woman's breathing was erratic. "Ethan, don't you have anything to say to me?" Sophia's voice was eager, even a little desperate. Only then did I look up and meet Sophia's somewhat reddened eyes. "What's there to talk about between exes? Reminisce about the past? Rekindle old flames? Ethan, don't you dare go soft," I told myself over and over. "You can like anyone now, anyone but Sophia. A good horse doesn't go back to old grass." Sophia lowered her gaze, then asked instead of answering, "Where have you been all these years?" "I've been trying to find you, but there was never any news." I scoffed. "Why were you looking for me?" In my eyes, my departure was no different to Sophia than losing a cat. If she felt sorry for me today, she'd give me a little more cat food. If she liked someone else tomorrow, I'd go hungry. I was just a pet Sophia kept. Seeing my indifferent expression, Sophia stared at me intently, as if trying to see into my soul. "Ethan, you really are cruel. How dare you just abandon me and leave without a word?" In college, Sophia and I were dating. At that time, I was still a student, while she had already taken over her family's massive corporation, Miller Industries. Sophia's circle was vast, mostly composed of wealthy heirs. A young man like me from a small town, seemed out of place in her world. She was very considerate, handling all the little details of our relationship. While my peers were stressing over exams and coursework, Sophia showed me a much wider world. Boating in London, art exhibitions in Paris, speeding down an American highway at sunset. Spending in Rome was a whirlwind of extravagance. A single night could cost what an ordinary family earned in a year. Undoubtedly, Sophia was a very capable girlfriend. But for me, the world I was experiencing was never truly my own. There was a huge class disparity between Sophia and me, and this relationship was inherently unequal. I couldn't text my girlfriend whenever I wanted, like normal couples did, because she was always busy, and I was afraid of disturbing her. When we went out, her friends never bothered to ask my name. It was as if everyone tacitly agreed I was just Sophia's handsome trophy boyfriend. I knew that, in this relationship, I was always beneath her, and Sophia held all the power. Until later, I saw with my own eyes a famous actor with his arm around Sophia at a gala. They looked so well matched. Unlike me, it wasn't so much jealousy as a profound sense of inadequacy. That overwhelming feeling of inferiority crushed me. I loathed the part of myself that couldn't fit into Sophia's world, loathed the unaccomplished me. Precisely because of this, I couldn't stay by her side. With her around, I always felt like I had a safety net. So, on an ordinary night, I quietly moved out of the apartment Sophia had bought for me. No breakup, no goodbye. I snapped my SIM card and cut off all contact. I thought, when we meet again, I will surely be accomplished enough to match Sophia. What I wanted was respect that could be seen, acknowledged. For those few years, I lived in a different city. I worked hard to save money, facing the stark reality of poverty. Many years later, I became a high-end jewelry designer. I was hired back to the country with a high salary and put down roots in this city. I knew my decision was selfish towards Sophia, but that wasn't what I wanted. Even if we had forced ourselves to stay together then, we wouldn't have been happy in the long run. Pulling myself from my memories, I looked at Sophia. She looked more mature than she had a few years ago. I let out a long sigh. In a few years, my mindset had changed significantly. I was more inclined to weigh pros and cons, to think things through carefully. Just like now, there was a distance and coldness between Sophia and me, born from years of separation. She was clinging to the me from college, like a first love seared into her heart. I couldn't give her that feeling anymore. I looked at Sophia and sighed softly. I know I left too hastily back then. Sophia, there was no future for us together. What you're clinging to now means nothing to me anymore. I turned to leave, but Sophia wouldn't let me. She pulled me into the stairwell, her feminine body pressing against mine. In a fluster, Sophia pinned me in a corner. I was furious. Let go! Sophia, her eyes red, held me fast, stubbornly refusing to release me. I won't. I let you go once. I won't let you go again, no matter what. With that, without giving me a moment to think, Sophia kissed me aggressively. The more I struggled, the tighter she held me. Between gasps, she buried her head in my chest. Salty tears flowed onto me. She was crying. This was the first time Sophia had ever cried in front of me. In the quiet, cramped space, Sophia's voice trembled with sobs. Don't avoid me. Ethan, say you can't let me go. Say you've regretted every day since we broke up. Say you've only ever loved me in this lifetime. Just say it, and I'll give you anything. In the heavy atmosphere, I couldn't utter a single word. Only today did I finally understand. Sophia, too, had moments of losing control. But this loss of control wasn't necessarily for me. Maybe her love life was troubled. Maybe it was years of unwillingness to let go of me. But she clearly had someone else. Why was she still pestering me? I lowered my gaze and gently pushed her away. If I said it, would you even believe me? As our eyes met, I saw the light in Sophia's eyes gradually dim. Coming out of the stairwell, my sister was looking for me everywhere. Seeing my strange expression, she asked with concern, "What's wrong?" I smiled and shook my head, just stepped out for some air. Let's go back. My sister looked at me teasingly. Lily told me Uncle Ethan met a beautiful lady in the elevator today. Ethan, do you know that woman? She was my girlfriend in college. A flicker of surprise crossed my sister's eyes. For so many years, I've been trying to persuade you to give those young women around you a chance. You always refused. Was it because of her? I shook my head, my feelings complicated. Sis, it's not. Seeing I still had unresolved issues, my sister didn't press further. She smiled and held my hand. I'm married and have a child now, so naturally, I hope someone will take care of you. But more than that, I want you to be happy. As long as you're happy, it doesn't matter if you never get married in this lifetime. She gave me a comforting look. Indeed, there had been no shortage of women interested in me over the years. They were very attentive, beautiful, smart, generous, gentle, and considerate. Yet, I never found the courage to start a new relationship. The problem was with me. I had gradually lost the ability to love someone. Monday morning, my assistant, Sam, stood in my office giving his daily report. I was engrossed in sketching designs, multitasking. After finishing with work matters, Sam's tone clearly hesitated. Ethan, there was a woman looking for you outside just now, quite pretty. I stopped my pen and looked at Sam. Did she leave a name? No. She just said she wanted to see you specifically. I glanced at my watch and nodded. Show her to the conference room. I'll be there shortly. It wasn't until I opened the conference room door that I understood why she had specifically asked for me. Sophia was wearing a little black dress today, looking more approachable than usual. Seeing me enter, her dark eyes flickered. From the moment I walked in until I sat down, her gaze never left me. Ms. Miller, you certainly work fast. Finding my studio so quickly. I pursed my lips and looked at the woman sitting across from me. Hearing the sarcasm in my voice, Sophia clearly didn't take it to heart. Ethan, I'm here today to discuss a collaboration. I looked at her without speaking. I want you to design a diamond ring for me. The woman's dark eyes were clear and cool, possessing a strange allure. I pursed my lips and took a sip of the coffee beside me. It would be foolish not to make money, especially from a capitalist like Sophia. Out of professional courtesy, I still asked, may I ask the purpose of this diamond ring? A lazy smile played on Sophia's lips. For my wedding. As she said this, Sophia's gaze softened in a way I had never seen before. Coffee spilled from my cup, and I hastily pulled my hand away. Was the groom that famous actor? Indeed, such a grand gesture. Only a custom-designed diamond ring would befit his status. Sophia looked at me meaningfully. Is there a problem? No. Suppressing the bitterness in my heart, I looked at Sophia. If Ms. Miller has any specific details or requirements, you can discuss them with my assistant. I'll confirm the design drafts with you later. The woman raised an eyebrow, giving me no chance. It's better if I liaise with you directly. My boyfriend is quite particular. If he's not satisfied with the design, I'll be the one to suffer, won't I? Seeing I still wanted to refuse, Sophia added more pressure. Ethan, we're old acquaintances, aren't we? You won't even help me with this small favor. With that, she glanced at my colleagues outside the conference room. The threat in her tone was obvious. Fine, she won. I certainly didn't want our past relationship to become common knowledge. As I took out my phone to add her on WeChat, a pleased smile touched Sophia's lips. After getting my contact information, Sophia was surprisingly quiet. She didn't send me a single message, nor did she ask about the progress of the design. I was quite content with this situation. It saved me from being flustered every time we met. But sometimes, fate likes to play jokes. I never expected that, after so many years, I would see that famous actor again. He was just coming out of the apartment opposite mine as I was heading home. He seemed to be in a hurry, and we bumped into each other at the elevator. Ethan, the man's voice called out to me, slightly surprised. I turned inwardly shocked. He knew my name? He didn't seem hostile towards me. His long fingers tentatively pointed towards my apartment. Do you live here? I nodded. Yes, I just bought it recently. He seemed to understand something, a slight smile on his lips. Oh, I haven't introduced myself. I'm Sophia's brother. My name is Michael. Brother? Michael shook my hand amicably. So, the person attending the gala with Sophia back then was her own brother? I was wondering why that girl suddenly wanted to buy an apartment here. So it was because of you, Michael chuckled meaningfully. If it's convenient, could I come in for a bit? Oh yes, of course. The shock was too much at once. I belatedly invited Michael in. Would you like something to drink? Just water is fine. I smiled at Michael. He had a clean-cut look, and from the moment he entered, he had been subtly sizing me up. His gaze was probing, yet gentle. Aren't you curious how I know your name? Sitting on the sofa opposite him, I quietly lowered my eyes. It must be related to Sophia. Michael took a sip of water, then looked at me seriously. It was after you two separated that I found out about you. Back then, my sister was frantically searching for you, practically turning the world upside down, but to no avail. You might not believe it, but Sophia has always been quite stoic. This was the first time she'd ever been like this over a man. I told her maybe you had your reasons, and if it was meant to be, you'd meet again. Later, she searched for you for over 6 months. Little by little, she lost hope, and I watched her slowly spiral downwards. Until one day I went to see her. I don't think I'll ever forget that scene in my life. She was lying in the bathtub, a deep gash on her wrist. A roar filled my head, and my mind went blank. Sophia, she had tried to kill herself because of me. At this point, Michael finally broke down and cried. I felt a chill run down my spine, my blood turning to ice. Michael covered his face, sobbing as he spoke. I panicked and immediately called an ambulance. During those hours outside the operating room, I imagined a million possibilities. Thankfully, she was saved. When Sophia woke up, she was completely despondent. The first thing she asked me was, "Why did you save me?" Ethan, my once vibrant and spirited sister, was ultimately broken. Tears streamed down my face, growing more torrential. I felt a sharp pain in my heart. I never knew any of this. Michael, I'm so sorry for what I did to her. Michael gradually calmed down. He wiped his tears and smiled, shaking his head at me. It's not your fault. It's my sister's for being too stubborn. Once she sets her heart on someone, it's always that person. Don't let her usual aloofness fool you. She truly loved you to her core. Now that you're back, whether you two can reconcile or not, I hope you can clear up the misunderstandings between you. Michael stood up and patted my shoulder. I looked at him and saw encouragement in his eyes, as if telling me it's okay. An intense wave of guilt flooded my mind. I thought, I need some time to process things between Sophia and me. I took Michael's hand and finally nodded. Friday night, young men and women swayed their beautiful bodies wantonly on the dance floor. At a booth not far away, our group was celebrating our friend Chris's birthday. Seeing me distracted, he sat down beside me. I never expected Sophia to be such a devoted woman. Forget you, even I was shocked to hear all this. Chris was serious, none of his usual joking around. I used to think Sophia was just a spoiled rich girl, and she seemed indifferent to you. But now, it seems that might not have been the case. I looked up at Chris. He smirked. Sophia came looking for me a few years ago. She looked incredibly haggard back then. It was like she had lost all her spirit, constantly asking me about your whereabouts. I was holding a grudge at the time, so naturally, I refused to tell her. Thinking back now, if I had told her then, she might not have attempted suicide. Chris sighed guiltily and downed his drink in one go. I lowered my eyes, feeling an unbearable ache in my heart. I pursed my lips. I'm heading back. You guys have fun. Before Chris could speak, Sarah stood up. I didn't drink tonight. I can drive you home? I looked at Chris, who shrugged innocently. Sarah was a high school classmate of mine and Chris's. Ever since I returned to the country, she had been pursuing me relentlessly. Chris told me she had a crush on me in high school. I was just too oblivious back then to notice Sarah's feelings. No need to trouble yourself. I can just grab a cab. I declined with a faint smile. Sarah insisted on driving me. You've been drinking. It's better not to take a cab yourself. My place is on the way to yours anyway. It's no trouble. Seeing Sarah's enthusiastic face, I couldn't refuse any longer. My place was very close to the bar, only about a 10-minute drive. The night was cool as water, and only 2 figures remained under the streetlight. I smiled at Sarah. Thank you for your trouble, driving me back so late. My sincere gaze seemed to make Sarah a bit embarrassed. She smiled and brushed her hair back. Don't mention it. With that, she took a deep breath, seeming a little nervous. Are you free this weekend? I'd like to treat you to dinner. I'm sorry, I might have to work overtime this weekend. I looked at Sarah apologetically. She seemed afraid of causing me trouble and quickly made an excuse for me. It's okay. You just got back to the country. You must be very busy with work. If you're free someday, feel free to ask me out anytime. I looked into Sarah's eyes. I'm really sorry. I'm not looking for a relationship right now. Perhaps you could consider other people. You don't need to waste your time on me. My rejection was firm, and Sarah's smile froze on her face. In some ways, Sophia and I were both equally stubborn. I turned to leave, but Sarah called out from behind me. Her gaze was fervent. "Ethan, I'll wait for the day you finally look at me." As if afraid of my refusal, Sarah quickly got into her car. It wasn't until the car disappeared into the night that I sighed softly. Love truly is a tormenting thing. Even though I had rejected her multiple times, Sarah still offered her sincere heart, hoping to one day win me over. Unfortunately, being moved isn't the same as love. I could never reciprocate Sarah's feelings. I pulled my coat tighter around me and walked quickly towards the elevator. The elevator doors dinged open. An overwhelming smell of alcohol enveloped me. At that moment, Sophia was sitting dejectedly at my doorstep. Even in such a disheveled state, the woman exuded an air of nobility that made it hard to look away. And at her feet lay a pile of empty beer cans. How much had she drunk? My brow furrowed, and we looked at each other in silence. This was the first time I had seen Sophia looking so pitiful. Her lips were pressed into a thin line, and after a long silence, she finally asked softly, "Are you?" She didn't finish the sentence, the words dying in her throat. I unconsciously clenched my fists, my fingertips turning white. "Am I what?" She paused, the words she wanted to say becoming incredibly difficult. "The woman who just drove you home? Are you two together?" Sophia looked haggard, her almond eyes looking as if they were about to bleed. "So, she was drinking tonight because of this?" "It's not what you think." I looked at Sophia, wanting to reach out and help her up, but she brushed my hand away, a hint of grievance in her eyes. After a while, she let out a self-deprecating smile. "Ethan, what exactly am I to you?" With that, she stood up, kicked an empty can in front of her, and stumbled towards the elevator. Sophia just disappeared like that, without even listening to a word of my explanation. That night, I slept fitfully, dreaming of my past with Sophia. The past played out like a slideshow in my dreams. On my 21st birthday, Sophia had prepared a surprise for me. It was the happiest birthday of my life. Sophia put a watch on my wrist and promised to love only me for the rest of her life. We embraced and kissed under the envious gazes of everyone. I've always been a light sleeper, and Sophia would always wait for me to fall asleep first. Every night I woke up from a nightmare, she would gently pat me. "Ethan, it's okay. Don't be afraid. It was just a dream." During those many nights abroad, God knows how much I craved the scent of Sophia, but only a cold room answered me. I admit I was a coward. I didn't dare show strong affection for Sophia, afraid she would look down on me for it. I also couldn't bear to share her with another man. That's why I refused to return to the country for all those years. I was afraid of hearing news of Sophia's marriage. Waking up from the dream, the wall clock showed 2 in the morning. I got up to pour a glass of water, and the phone rang at that moment. It was an unfamiliar number. I pressed the answer button. The environment on the other end sounded very noisy. The female voice on the other end sounded a little joyful. "Ethan, thank goodness you answered. Sophia said she wanted to drink with us sisters tonight." After entering the private room, she started drinking like there was no tomorrow, and no one could stop her. A few of us couldn't hold her back, and now she's completely drunk and unconscious. "I guess it's because of you. Do you think you have time to come and pick Sophia up?" I felt my temples throbbing. I quickly asked for their address. When I arrived at the bar, Sophia's childhood friend, Megan, was waiting for me at the door. "Ethan, you're finally here. Sophia is still asleep. Were you the one who just called me?" "Yes, it was me. When I called, Sophia was still calling out your name." My steps faltered. Megan looked back at me, somewhat puzzled. "What's wrong?" I managed a pale smile. "Nothing." As soon as I entered the private room, I saw the unconscious Sophia. Even so drunk, her sleeping posture was still very demure. Her fair skin had a faint pinkish hue, making her look even more endearing than when she was awake. I carried Sophia to the back seat of the car. As I turned to leave, Megan suddenly stopped me. "Ethan, I know it's presumptuous to call you that given your current relationship, but Sophia allowed it. Besides you, we've never called anyone else that." The streets were already empty. In the quiet atmosphere, I leaned against the car, hands in my pockets. "Back then, none of you even asked for my name." I chuckled softly. I had always been bothered by the fact that I was considered Sophia's kept man. Megan could naturally see that. "You misunderstood. Sophia never meant it that way. She said you were young and thin-skinned, and if we paid too much attention to you, it would only make you uncomfortable." Privately, we only ever acknowledged you as her partner, no one else. Sophia has had a very hard time these past few years. As her friend, it's not convenient for me to say much. Wait for her to wake up and ask her yourself. I let out a long breath. Whenever I was with Sophia's friends, I was always well protected. Her friends never looked at me differently because of my different background. It turned out, Sophia had been secretly smoothing things over for me all along. I let out a self-deprecating laugh. That silly Sophia, how much more had she not told me? The 10-minute drive felt like a lifetime. By the time we got home, Sophia was mostly sober. The elevator ascended slowly, and we both tacitly remained silent. Why did you buy the apartment across from mine? I asked her softly, breaking the existing silence. Sophia hummed softly in response, then obediently confessed, I wanted to see you more. I didn't say anything and stepped out of the elevator first. The option of crashing at my place was no longer viable, so Sophia had no choice but to obediently enter the password for her own apartment. I was just about to tell her to get some rest. Suddenly, with a strength I didn't know she possessed, she pulled me into her apartment. In the darkness, Sophia expertly closed the door. She pinned me against the door and kissed me on tiptoe. The alcohol-tinged kiss pressed down on me, overwhelming. The whole movement was fluid, without any hesitation. Sophia's kiss was wild with uncontrolled passion, and in a daze, I wrapped my arms around her slender waist. The woman flicked the switch by the entrance. Instantly, the room was brightly lit. Sophia pressed against my chest, her eyes dancing with the fire of love. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have refused to listen to your explanation. I waited for you for hours tonight, and when I saw that woman bring you back, jealousy got the better of me, and I lost control. Her expression was like a child who had done something wrong, hoping for my forgiveness. How many years had it been since I'd seen such a shy, girlish expression on Sophia's face? Couldn't remember. My cheeks burned. I felt like my whole face was on fire. I patiently explained, it's not like that. She's pursuing me, but I haven't said yes. Sophia chuckled softly. I know. Her gaze grew more intense, starlight flowing in her dark eyes. I suddenly swept Sophia up in my arms. My hoarse voice sounded again by her ear. Sophia, I can't hold back anymore. The next morning, I woke up in Sophia's bed. I slipped on slippers and walked out of the room. Sophia was in the kitchen cooking porridge. Seeing me, she placed the steaming hot millet porridge on the dining table. Here, try my cooking. I sat on a high stool, the aroma of the millet porridge enticing my taste buds. The spoon stirred aimlessly in the white porcelain bowl, but I had no appetite. I looked at Sophia, who was still busy, my gaze deepening. What happened to the wound on your wrist? At my words, Sophia's back stiffened. She turned around, seemingly afraid to look at me. I walked over to her, wanting to take her hand, but Sophia stopped me. Don't look, this scar is ugly. I didn't listen and insisted on taking her hand. As my fingertips traced the scar, tears welled up in my eyes. Such a deep scar, I didn't even dare to think about it further. If Michael hadn't happened to visit her then, the consequences would have been unimaginable. If Sophia had really killed herself because of me, I would live with the shadow of guilt for the rest of my life. Sophia gently wiped my tears. Why are you crying? I'm perfectly fine, aren't I? I grabbed Sophia's hand. How could you be so foolish? She sighed softly and hugged my waist. In the first 6 months after I couldn't find you, I hated you to the core. I hated you for pursuing me and then abandoning me. Later, I gradually figured it out. It must have been because I wasn't good enough, that's why you left me. But believe me, from the day I got together with you, I was set on you. I swore I would marry you in this lifetime. The more gently Sophia explained, the harder my tears fell. These years had truly been hard on her. She fumbled to wipe my tears. Finally, she simply kissed my tears away. Ethan, you are truly my undoing. Even though I've hated you in my heart all these years, I can't bear to see you suffer even a little. Just watching you cry breaks my heart. Am I doomed to be in your hands for the rest of my life? I admitted that I had been too willful back then, but some things still needed to be clarified. There were too many misunderstandings between Sophia and me. I pulled Sophia to sit on the sofa. Back when I was with you, I actually felt very insecure. I was just a penniless college student, but you were already successful in your career. I was afraid that in other people's eyes, I wasn't good enough for you. I didn't dare share my happiness with you, and I dared even less to share my sadness. Because I knew you were very busy, and I was worried about disturbing your work. In this relationship, I always felt inferior. You always had a somewhat aloof personality, which made me feel even more like you were just playing around with me, just treating me as a pet you kept. At my words, Sophia looked at me incredulously. Her tone was firm. I never thought that way. As if finally understanding the communication gap between us, Sophia seemed to have an epiphany. Ethan, how could you have so many misunderstandings about our relationship? Sophia leaned into my embrace. Do you know why I like you? I shook my head, and Sophia patiently explained. The first time I saw you was at Oakwood Cemetery. You were wearing a simple white shirt and holding a bouquet of chrysanthemums. I happened to be visiting my deceased father at the cemetery. It was raining heavily that day, and my clothes got wet. As you passed by me, you handed me an umbrella. I asked what you would do, and you said your home was very close. Later, I watched you run in the rain. By the time I looked for you again, you were gone. With that, Sophia chuckled softly. It was the first time I had ever met a boy like that, so kind that he would rather get wet himself than let someone in need go without an umbrella. Later, I used my connections to find you and get together with you. At that time, I thought we would get married after you graduated from college. But you were too independent. You didn't want to depend on me because of my status. And you weren't like other guys, clinging to me, wanting to be with me 24/7. Actually, I'm a very possessive person. When I saw you getting close to other women, I would get jealous. When I saw you chatting happily with your classmates, I would even hate myself for not being a student, for not having common topics with you. So I could only try my best to pretend I didn't care, to respect your decisions in everything. It was precisely because of this that you got the wrong impression that I didn't love you, right? I had never heard Sophia say these words before. Turned out she cared about me so much. Since things had come to this, everything was laid bare. Because of all this, I didn't dare to show you how much I loved you. I was afraid of being looked down upon by you. A trophy boyfriend isn't supposed to fall in love with his benefactor. I dared even less to reveal my true feelings to you, afraid that I would be the one to get hurt in the end. Sophia kissed my lips tenderly, her voice full of heartache. Silly, in this relationship, I was the one who felt insecure. I was afraid you would think that apart from money, I had nothing. I even thought, even if you loved my money, that would be fine, at least I really had it. Unfortunately, what you valued was never these things. I felt a tremor in my heart. The thing that had always bothered me was also laid bare. Actually, the reasons I left weren't entirely those. At the time, I thought Michael was your real boyfriend. Sophia was very surprised by this. Ethan, why did you never ask me? At that time, I was just accompanying my brother to a business dinner. All the events of the past were laid out and discussed between us. Only then did I finally understand how deep the years of misunderstanding between Sophia and me ran. That day, Sophia lay in my arms and talked a lot. Until she was extremely tired, she finally fell asleep leaning against me. I gently kissed her lips, carried her into the bedroom, and tucked her in. Ever since Sophia and I reconciled, she wanted to stick to me every day. She took me everywhere, afraid I would disappear again. I understood that she was still afraid I would leave her again. I felt the same joy of having something precious returned. After intense happiness, insecurity often follows. Even though I repeatedly told Sophia that I wouldn't leave her again, she still subconsciously held me very tightly when she slept at night, as if wanting to embed me into her life. Michael was naturally happy for us too. Seeing us standing together, he smiled and then cried. A month later, I proposed to Sophia. It was in the villa we were preparing for our new life together. Sophia's childhood friends were there, and Chris also attended. Red roses filled the room, and every corner was meticulously decorated. Sophia looked beautiful today, radiant. I knelt on one knee, looking at her affectionately. In my hand was the diamond ring she had asked me to design earlier. I had to say she was a shrewd planner, playing the long game since I returned to the country. I took a deep breath, suppressing the nervousness in my heart. Sophia, this is our 6th year, but for 4 long years in between, I wasn't by your side. The smog outside is gradually clearing, the light is getting brighter, and you are becoming clearer in front of me. This is a very ordinary day. This morning, you were lying beside me, sleeping peacefully in my arms. I found that my gaze could never leave you. I didn't want to sleep, because I was afraid that if I closed my eyes, you would disappear from my sight again. Perhaps you don't know, but while gazing at you, I suddenly made a bold decision. I want to propose to you even if time is tight, even if it scares you. This time, it's a real proposal. My girl has been devoted to me for so many years. This time, it's my turn to be brave. I want to take you home. So, will you come home with me? From my perspective, Sophia's hands were trembling slightly. Everyone was cheering, "Marry him, marry him, marry him." I suddenly felt very lucky. For so many years, Sophia had been waiting for me. Perhaps, in countless restless nights in the future, I will still remember the jidong of this moment. Sophia took the diamond ring and slipped it onto her ring finger. From now on, I am your Mrs. Collins. The surrounding cheers grew louder, but Sophia's eyes were only on me. The moonlight outside was like silver, and I, ecstatic, pulled her into my embrace. I was silent for a long moment, feeling a tremor in my chest. She also said, "You are the best gift this world has given me." Sophia didn't know that she was the gift heaven had given me. I never told Sophia. Many years ago, on the day we met at Oakwood Cemetery, I had just lost a close relative. I sat quietly on the steps of the cemetery for a long time, until the sky gradually darkened. At that time, Sophia passed by me. She had a pleasant scent. Later, the weather changed, and it started to rain lightly in the cemetery. Sophia walked over to me and draped the black coat from her bodyguard's hand over my shoulders. "Your clothes are thin, don't get sick. It's getting late, go home quickly." Even though she herself was already shivering from the cold, the look in her eyes was very warm. Perhaps Sophia would never understand how much comfort her simple gesture gave me at that time. I nodded and saw her clothes gradually getting wet from the rain. I rummaged through my backpack and gave her an umbrella. I never expected that such a simple act would be remembered by Sophia for so long. I bloomed in a desperate situation, and everyone else wanted to pick me. Only Sophia passed by me and held up an umbrella for me. She said, "You just bloom. I'm here for you."